So, Hugh, could you just tell me a little bit about what you do?
I'm a broadcaster for BBC Sport, but in sports news. So I basically read the news, all sport, on Radio 5 Live and on the BBC News channel, BBC News. Yeah.
And how did you get into journalism?
Well, I did a master's in sports journalism that included an NCTJ certificate, and then after that, pursued opportunities, ended up at the BBC.
And have you had any challenges in your career?
Yeah, I think everyone has challenges during their career, don't they? I mean, I moved from London to Salford with the move with 5 Live. That's obviously changed my life completely. I'm up there, been up there for 5.5 years. So obviously my friends and family less. It was a big challenge at the start, especially with the amount of rain in the north of England. Like, it's just not my thing at all. So it was pretty depressing at the start. And obviously it was a big challenge because in that broadcast assistant role, you're not making huge amounts. You're at the low end of the hierarchy, if you like. So you're doing the sort of jobs that you wouldn't necessarily associate with journalism. You obviously go in wide-eyed, thinking you're going to get a chance to do X, Y, and Z, and it takes time. You're making tea, booking hotels, booking cars for the early part of your career. Of course, you get to do journalism as well, but in a lot of places, that's what it's like. You earn your stripes. So that was challenging for me personally. Of course, you think about going back to work in the city with your mates or whatever, and earning a lot more money and back home, going out every weekend. But if it's really what you want to do, then you just put your head down. And I think a lot of the people, at least where I work, at the BBC, face similar challenges, and they're all coming out on the other side of it, better people and better journalists for the experience.
And so what advice would you give to young people who are trying to get into journalism at the moment?
It depends what age. If you're really young, 15, 16 years old, and you think journalism is going to be for you, the best thing to do is keep reading, watching, observing what people are doing across journalism. Whether you want to watch Match of the Day, look at why you think Alan Shearer might be a good pundit, or Gary Lineker, or Gabby Logan, Dan Walker might be a good host. Read the sports pages, of course. Eventually you'll find out which journalists you like, but why don't you like the ones you dislike? Why do you like the ones that you think are good? And try and get on social media, follow those journalists, see what they're working on, where they go, and if you really think it's going to be for you, you should get a good idea of what their life's like. For older people, if you're going into a master's or an NCTJ course, at that point it's networking, it's trying to meet people, trying to get yourselves opportunities, always putting your best foot forward, work on your CV, listen to people in the industry when they try and advise you about what things you need to work on, and always be open to new opportunities as well. So never try and pigeonhole yourself. You might like a particular sport, if it's football, rugby, cricket, whatever. Always be open if someone says, we want someone to go and cover skiing. Always be open to doing that. You're going to learn new skills, you're going to learn something new about sport, and just try and get as wide a picture as you can, because that will contribute towards you being a better journalist. And one day, hopefully, you'll get the opportunity that you want in the sport and platform that you always wish for.
So what are your future plans?
I still, need to improve on what I'm doing, so I'm still working on that. I got into journalism, I genuinely think, to try and get people like me. I'm from Wembley, northwest London. Doing a career like this, there weren't lots of people. There still aren't lots of people from my background and my class demographic working in sport. So in the short-term future, I'd love to work on sort of diversity in broadcasting. Obviously, being there is one thing, but away from that, trying to encourage people to do what I do, to join newspapers, websites, everything really. And the long term, to do more with BBC Sport. I haven't really thought about other broadcasters much. We obviously have a lot of sport at the BBC, enough for me to work on hopefully in the next few years. I'd love to go out to Russia next year or to the next Olympics in Tokyo. Would be a dream come true. So we'll see if I'm good enough to get the nod.